Welcome back to Statement Piece. Happy Valentine's Day to all of our listeners. Although it is a Hallmark holiday and drives capitalism, I want you all to know that we all love you.
Yes, you're all our Valentines if you're listening to this.
Today we have a really special episode with Audrey Hilfiger, a serial entrepreneur, and she currently runs Wonderland Home. So if you're looking for a gift that shows you're really thinking about someone, you can check out her brand. But first, let's get into some current events.
All right. First of all, Fenty, Rihanna's brand under LVMH, has discontinued. They are going to continue their relationship with Rihanna through Fenty Beauty, as well as a $115 million investment round in her lingerie business via the private equity firm L. Catterton. But Fenty is closed.
And our next current event is regarding Rebecca Minkoff, who has nearly 1 million followers on Instagram as a fashion brand. But in an attempt to seek more, they are now offering premium content to their followers and customers through an OnlyFans account, making the first fashion designer to use the platform for their content.
Very interesting means of monetization. Next, Harry and Meghan have confirmed that they're expecting a second child. I said, Sisha, can you believe that? She said, what else are they supposed to do? But I guess that's true.
Our last current event is brought to you by the New York Times. Basically, they stated that the US Senate voted on Saturday, the 13th, to acquit Donald Trump in his second impeachment trial, as Republicans in the Senate are still affected from the most recent attack on the Capitol. Basically, they banded together to reject the charge that he incited the January 6th attack. The verdict will bring an end to the fourth presidential impeachment trial in American history, and it is ending after just 5 days, partially because Republicans and Democrats have little appetite for a prolonged proceeding, and partially because Mr. Trump's allies have made it clear that they will not be able to hold him responsible.
Well, now on to the episode.
Hi, guys.
Hello, welcome to the podcast.
Very excited to be here.
Yes. So if you can just walk us through a day in the life. What does it look like for you? What did you do today, for example?
Okay. Well, right now I just brought a puppy home. So my day starts with being a puppy mom. And after everything gets done and I give her breakfast and all of that, I get on phone calls. It kind of depends on where I am with launching whatever collection I'm working on. But today, I actually have a few hundred candles being shipped to me next week. So today consisted of talking to my factory, seeing when my custom packaging is going to be done. So it's all about calling people all day long, sending emails, following up emails when people don't respond to me. It's a lot of busy work, especially when I'm getting close to launching a collection and kind of planning our ad campaigns and stuff like that. So that's kind of what my days usually consist of.
So could you describe your business at the moment, or if you want, go through a timeline of your businesses and then describe your current business?
Sure. If I'm going way back, I'm 22 years old right now. My first small business was when I was a senior in high school. I was babysitting, and a lot of the moms needed help organizing. Some needed help moving. So I started a little organizing company. It ended when I went off to college. So there was no big reason for it to end. I just, went to school, and I went to college for a year and ended up transferring to a school in New York City. And when I moved back into the city, because I grew up here and I finished high school in New Jersey, I launched my second business called Penelope and Rose. It was a floral design company, which I launched in April 2019 and ended up closing around a year and a half later. So I did events, installations. Sometimes I did single floral orders, all of the above. I was doing it all. And in around April of 2020 is when I launched Wonderland Home. It used to be called Seasons when I launched it. I've changed the name since then, but it's a home decor and fragrance company. So I've been working on that since April.
Amazing. So what directed the name change?
Well, to be really honest with you, it was trademarked. There's no, fancy reason. I actually like our name now much better, but why I originally named the company Seasons, because I wanted to honor seasons of nature, the seasons of someone's life. So I made a candle in June called Seasons of Pride to honor Pride Month. Was my first Pride Month out. So I wanted to honor these like really important seasons in someone's life. And I mean, we still do it called Wonderland Home. It's the same thing, but there's a rule of thumb when starting businesses, you have to check, the US trademark database. And unfortunately, Seasons fragrances under the mark of candles was trademarked in like 1967. So someone got to it a long time before I did.
Wow.
And it actually kind of pushed me to evolve anyway, because Wonderland Home encompasses more home decor and Seasons was more just fragrances and candles. But these are kind of the basics of when you launch your own business. A lot of people don't think about kind of the boring stuff you have to do, but you need to make sure your name is not trademarked under certain classes. So, little lesson, but whenever you file a trademark, you have to file in specific categories. So you have to file for candles, you have to file for vases, you have to file for pillows. Everything is super specific. You can't just buy a name and own everything. You have to check specific categories.
So what made you decide to go into home decor and home furnishings and candles?
Well, since I was younger, I've always loved redecorating my room. I painted my room every color under the sun. I had amazing parents who let me put my furniture wherever I wanted to. I was obsessed with, I wasn't like the normal kid who wanted to buy toys. I was like, I want this dresser or this vanity. I have always loved furniture. I've always loved paint colors. And I wanted to create something for your home that was more accessible than a pieces of furniture. And I've always loved fragrances and the significance behind them. A little backstory, I was kind of noticing that Penelope and Rose was a sustainable business. And I realized that I would love to make a product. I've always been, I love interiors, I love products, and I love branding. So when I realized that I wanted to make a product, I was thinking of things that I just naturally love. And I did some research and found a lot of candles are made with really harmful wax blends, and there's just a lot of chemicals and paraffin wax and dyes that people were burning in their home. So I decided to make my own because I wanted to just create a no bullshit candle that had really good ingredients and amazing fragrances in it. I just think candles are like little pieces of art in someone's home, and I think they live long past finishing burning your candle. I think people can use them as vases or cups or pencil and pen holders, Q-tip holders, like whatever it is, they can stay in your home forever.
Yeah, Sita and I have talked quite a bit on a few episodes about how important it is that emerging businesses are ethical. I feel like you almost can't survive the current market if you don't go about things ethically. So it's really good that you're doing that. I feel like you're responding well to trends as well as just like the nature of being ethical. But how do you go about making your company as ethical and transparent as you would like it to be?
To me, it's so simple because there's nothing we have to hide. And that's kind of what I really detested about a lot of other fragrance companies that I did research on. You either couldn't figure out what their wax blend was, or when you asked, it wasn't good ingredients. And it was kind of this mysterious thing. And I really hated that. So for me, it's really simple. I mean, each candle is made in a family-owned factory right now in California. So they're all hand poured, and the process goes as the solid form of coconut wax and then soy wax is melted into like a big vat. You wait and it becomes a liquid. You let it cool off a little bit, and then fragrance oils are combined with the wax. You mix that together. This is a very simplified version, but that's mixed together. And then you have a bunch of glass vessels laid out, and there's cotton wicks in them, and they're each poured, and then they harden and wicks are trimmed, and they're made with a lot of love. So that's the current production process, and everything we make will be definitely the same way. I'm not really about mass production, and I like to make things in the US.
That's great. I feel like the love and care that goes into the product is like how much love and care you get out of it.
Yeah, totally. You can tell when you buy something and it's poorly made.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's expensive, you can tell.
Why do you think people do not know as much about the harmful effects of burning waxes such as paraffin?
It's a bit of a controversial topic. So you will read, articles and studies that say it's really harmful, and you'll read some that say that's bullshit. It's not. And so you kind of get mixed reviews. At the end of the day, you can choose what articles and what reviews and scientific studies you want to believe, but I know that whatever you ingest, whatever you put in your skin, I mean, we know what lotion you put on your body is absorbed into your bloodstream. Think about what you're breathing in your lungs. And even if there's not specific scientific study that has said, hey, like this is what paraffin wax does to you, I choose to believe that what you breathe in your air in your home really is important. So I don't want to take any risks, and I just want to breathe in good stuff. There has been numerous studies that say it has carcinogens in paraffin wax. If you have certain pre-existing conditions, it can aggravate them, make them worse. I have gotten so many DMs from people that say they have different sensory disorders. So like if they burn candles, they get headaches, and if they can't use perfume, they can't use scented soap, but when they burn our candles, nothing bothers them. And that's kind of why I'm doing what I'm doing, because getting these messages from people that say I've never been able to enjoy candles before because I get pain, I can't wear perfume, I can't use scented cleaning products, but I can burn your candle for 45 minutes next to me. That's amazing.
Yeah, definitely. Are there any like regulatory aspects to candles at all, or no?
Yeah, I mean, there are in certain aspects. You have to have certain warnings on your fire safety label. But on the aspects of how much paraffin wax you can use, there's, you can have 100% paraffin wax candle. So in that aspect, not as much, but there are certain things you need to have. Your glass needs to be heat resistant, so it can't get too hot where it would burn people. You can't have, you have to have your fire safety labels in a certain font size, like little things like this you wouldn't really think about. But as far as wax goes, you can use as much paraffin as you want. But if you're claiming to be an all natural candle, you really need to get tested. But I mean, I've done it, and it costs a lot of money and it takes a long time. And you have to send a bunch of samples to labs, and your candles come back. I mean, I sent all my fragrances to labs, and my candles come back to me and they look like they've gone through, the trash compactor. The paint's scraped off, the labels are peeled off. It's pretty intense.
Yeah. So why do people use unhealthy chemicals then to produce their product? Is it just that it's cheaper?
It's cheaper. It's
Okay.
so much cheaper. Fragrance is so expensive. Fragrance oil is really expensive. So candles are an expensive product because wax can be really expensive and fragrance can really be expensive. So paraffin's 1,000 times cheaper than a coconut wax or a beeswax. Soy wax is sort of in the middle, but a coconut and beeswax, I choose to not use beeswax because I like to have an all vegan candle. So it's up to whoever's listening to this, it's up to you to do your own research. From the research I did and I've done, I don't like what I've seen about paraffin wax. And it's the kind of thing that I said, I don't want to gift my mom another candle that has it in it.
So how long did it take you to go from idea and kind of doing the research about what wax you wanted to use and everything of that sort, and developing the fragrances, to then eventually going to market and selling your candles?
I came up with the idea last October, and my process goes is I open up a PowerPoint and I come up with names and fonts, and I'm a super visual creative person. So I was coming up with scent names and my favorite fonts and colors and all this kinds of stuff. So I started doing that in October. I launched with pre-sales and my candles were in production in April, launched full-fledged in May when I was shipping out candles. So it was a quick turnaround and it's gone super well. But my biggest thing was someone who's listening to this, if you want to launch a product, you just have to decide. You just have to say, like, I'm going to do this no matter what. And if you put in enough work, it can totally happen. But I was on a trip to LA in January. After the October, I came up with the idea, and I would go in candle stores and tell my girlfriend, I'm going to launch a candle business. I'm going to have my own candle business. And it seemed so far-fetched at the time. Where was I going to get the money to fund this? How was I going to do this? But if you come up with an idea and you really believe you can make it happen, you can make it happen. And it's not as hard as you think it would be.
That's so inspiring. So I know that you had 2 businesses prior. So was there ever a point where you were running both, or why did you decide to end those businesses when you did, and just kind of like things like that?
The organizing business was just, I don't even want to say putting my toe into the pool of having your own business, because I don't want to give it that much credit. It was just a way to make more money, to be honest. In high school, I had tons of jobs throughout high school. I was a serial babysitter. I babysat all the time. I worked as a waitress in an Italian restaurant. I worked in a juice shop for a little bit. I worked in a clothing store. So it was just another way to make money and put money into my savings account. So that just ended when I went off to school. But the floral design business and Wonderland Home did overlap. I decided to bail ship in some sense when I realized, with COVID and having a service is super hard. So any type of business you have that you have to be physically present for every time someone books you or needs an arrangement, whatever your service is, if you have to physically be there, it's really difficult. And I give so much credit to people who do it because it's really labor intensive. So I knew, in maybe 5 months after starting my floral design company, that it probably wasn't going to be something that I would invest my life into and my energy into, because it's really a lot to keep up with and can be really draining. So I decided to officially end it when I was paying to have this, I think I was an LLC at the time, and it's kind of expensive yearly to keep your LLC. And it wasn't worth the money anymore because of the lack of business.
Right. Yeah. In June, I started a management and marketing consultancy, and I had the same realization. Like, I always thought being personable with clients would be something that I really enjoyed because I love meeting new people, and I did enjoy it, but it was really labor intensive to have to personalize this product every single time and
it's
get
crazy.
to know the client and like really familiarize yourself. So I think I'm in the same boat. Like, I want to start another business and I want it to be a product.
Yeah. And I'm sure you experience this a lot. I would make mood boards for potential clients, and I would put in a ton of time researching different arrangements, how we could build out certain things, and then they wouldn't go through with it. So, I mean, having your own product is a pretty no bullshit kind of business. Someone's going to buy it or they aren't. So it's way different than, kind of toying around trying to make the sale. But I mean, I still deeply love floral design. And, if you look at Wonderland Home's Instagram or see some of our fragrance notes, I bring everything with me that I've learned through florals into our photography, to our scents, to our label imagery. It all stays with me.
Yeah. And I remember when we had a call previously, you mentioned that you had once designed for Oprah.
Yeah.
The floral bouquet. Would you mind just telling us a bit about that?
It wasn't actually for Oprah. That sounded much cooler than it was. It ended up being for Oprah, the Oprah magazine's front desk. It was a luncheon I did in the Crosby Street Hotel, and each of the guests got their own floral arrangement. I can show you guys a picture because I'm proud of them. They're really pretty.
Yeah, would love to see it.
And one
I'm
of the
about to
guests,
hire you for my wedding.
Oh my God, I will totally do your wedding. But one of the guests worked at Oprah's magazine, and so it ended up being there. And that was a really exciting moment for me because I love Oprah. And I was like, oh my God, I wonder if she was there that week when it was there and she saw that. I feel like I'm there. So that was an exciting moment for me.
Yeah, that's awesome. So why do you think you start so many businesses? You just have a fervor for entrepreneurship? Or I'm also curious why you had so many jobs throughout high school. Like, do you just enjoy working? Are you kind of like a workaholic?
Yeah, I mean, I'm for sure a workaholic. And now with Wonderland Home, I've really found what I love, and I love what we're building. So I think I will chill out and not be, such a serial entrepreneur. I think this is my thing that's going to stick. But I love working. All I do is think about work in the shower, in the morning, and when I'm laying in bed at night. It's all I think about. And I think I don't want to say you have to, in order to succeed, you have to be that way. But if you're building a business, you have to dedicate so much of your brain power to it, because you need to cross every T and dot every I, because it is crazy that little things if you forget something little, it will bite you in, later on. And I don't know. I just love working, and I love branding, and I love products. So I think that's why I love creating my own business.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But it's great. You learn a lot doing a lot of different things, I mean, I was a terrible waitress, but you have to be super on top of things to be a waitress. You learn how to be at 7 different places at once. I mean, everything I did, I'm sure has helped me along the way, because working in a clothing store, you learn how to make a sale. I was the manager of our varsity basketball team because I'm athletically challenged, but I, learned how to be organized in that sense. So every little job I've done definitely has put together this person that has the ability to be a leader.
Right.
What do you think has been your most valuable experience from all these past jobs and businesses?
I think the most valuable lesson, maybe not experience, but lesson I've learned is you have to like really be obsessed and love what you do and believe in it, or no matter how much you want it, you're not going to have the energy to do it, because if you don't really love it or really believe in it, you're just going to go on to the next thing. And that's what I learned from doing so many things, because probably until now I wasn't in love with what I was doing.
So speaking to kind of the branding for Wonderland Home, how did you build the branding? It looks great, by the way.
Thank you.
And how did you make the company so visually approachable to, I think, a large amount of people?
Thanks. I think every person who owns their own company has a different perspective on what they think is the most important thing. And to me, I just have always been so fixated on what stuff looks like. So it was really important to me to have a stunning visual Instagram feed, a really beautiful website, really beautiful imagery. Like that was always one of the top priorities. So I love nature, as I've said, I love florals, and I just wanted to create a place, whether you go to our website or you light a candle or you visit our Instagram page, a little place you can escape. And I love escapism. I love being able to transport someone somewhere else. And I think having beautiful pictures of mountains or beautiful orchid photos, pictures of fields, they make me feel happy. And I think they make other people feel light. Most of us love nature. So it's really organically growing things that I think are beautiful and will make people feel good. It's all feel good photos. So no matter what gender, sexual orientation, religion you are, we all want to feel good.
Yeah. I read this art history study once. They surveyed people in different countries and asked them which painting and piece of art they liked the best. And overwhelmingly, pictures of nature were ones that people found the most beautiful and felt at peace with.
Totally makes sense. I mean, who doesn't love a sunny day, blue skies, flowers? These are like the basics of life, right?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I thought it would be like people that others would want to see, but I think it's just nature.
I think nature speaks to almost everyone, and especially with fragrances, I get all of our fragrance inspiration from different seasons, moments in people's lives.
Do you work with a team? And if so, how did you go about hiring everyone and picking who you're collaborating with?
Yeah, I have 2 employees. I have an in-house photographer who I just promoted. She's now our new creative director. So that's what was really exciting. And I have a graphic designer. They're both really, really talented women. And when I was starting Penelope and Rose, it was like really important to me to empower women and have an all-woman team. I like working with females. I think women are really smart. Not anti-men at all. I want to empower women and give girls a space where they can be creative, and that was really important to me. So a big goal of mine in having my own business was to be able to employ people who are really creative and talented. And my photographer was super talented, and I work well with people who go above and beyond. And I think there's that aspect about branding. No matter, you can tell someone what the font name is, you can tell someone what the color palette is, you can tell someone like, I want an orchid shot this way, but the people who just get it and it's kind of unsaid and you can't always put your finger on it, I can't always explain it, they just create stuff that's super aligned with Wonderland Home, are people that I love to work with and go the extra step and do their own thing. And Julia will show me something and I'm like, oh my God, that's so sick. Like that's so fabulous. Like I didn't even think of that. And that's how I love to work with girls who just kind of have their own vision.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think going to Wellesley for both Sita and myself was definitely an eye-opening experience and taught me the importance of teams that are built that way. Because especially in the workplace, things as minimal as building out a user story and what picture you use for that user story. I think I've noticed in the workplace, people will just inherently choose like white men all the time for even things that are as insignificant as a picture in a user story that only like 2 or 3 people will see. But I think subconsciously it just builds that that idea that only white men will ever be in these spaces.
Yeah, totally. And when I pick factories or places to source certain things, I try to work with women and with people that have really good values. And I like to work with a lot of small factories, not big, huge guys, and try to keep small businesses open.
And in regards to the scents, I know you said they're very much inspired by nature. How did you
Mhm.
go about actually creating them? Like, did it involve a lot of trial and error?
For my first collection, it was really simple because I was launching the spring. The collection was a spring collection. I launched with 3 scents: Posa, Ferret, and Rebirth. So it was really easy because I knew exactly what I wanted. I wanted florals. I wanted a floral, kind of more feminine scent, and then scents that meet everybody's needs. But I definitely wanted a feminine, masculine scent, and just a scent for everybody. One was a mint and eucalyptus smell. One was warm figs, and then one was like water lilies and dark hyacinth and star jasmine. So it was very easy for me with the first collection. And just to be honest, I choose something to focus around before I pick scents. So picking scents is very easy in that aspect because I already have a main focus. So with our holiday collection, I hate cookie crumble kind of cinnamony pumpkin pie smells. I don't like that kind of stuff personally. I didn't want to smell like a snickerdoodle. I wanted to smell like I was hugging up a pine tree. So I'm very picky to begin with. So it's not incredibly hard for me to know what I want. And then our second, we had a ponderosa pine, wild sage, blue basil scent. And then the second one was a more citrusy kind of, what I like to describe as if you were at a holiday party, that kind of happiness of that in a scent, which was called Everest and Aspen. So it's all, I already think about all these things before actually requesting certain scent notes because I've thought of exactly what I wanted and what I want people to feel like.
So I'm studying for
Exactly.
the MCAT right now, and I had to read this passage on, it's called like mind painting or something. But basically, it's about how all of your senses capture different experiences. They each capture a
Yeah.
different aspect of an experience. And so
Yeah.
what you see and what you're actually, like, your mind is thinking that you're experiencing is so different from what you may be smelling. And that's why for a lot of people, like, a smell can bring back a memory or something of that sort. So I
Yeah.
think that's really cool how you've kind of captured that in your own business.
Yeah, and that's exactly why another reason I chose to do candles, because I think fragrance is so powerful. I agree. It's really important to kind of, I love remembering things with scent. I mean, walked into like the antique store last week and I was like, oh my God, this smells like my grandma's house. And you can, a lifetime of memories flashes through your head. I mean, it's such a beautiful experience as humans that we get this kind of, everlasting memories for certain scents. It's really beautiful.
I think it's interesting with the kind of evolution of D2C companies with fragrances
Mhm.
being sold online. How do you go about kind of describing your scents and everything and selling something that someone can't really like smell in person?
Yeah. So it's definitely a challenge, and I've thought a lot about this. And I think a big thing is with fragrance, once you smell a candle and you like the smell, you usually trust other scents that company makes. So I try to create writing for our website that really walks you through the emotions I would envision someone feeling when they smell the scent, or the place that I would think they would be transported to. 50% of it is really great imagery that evokes certain feelings. And I
Mm.
love creating videos that kind of show you different moments that I would think inspire the scents, and putting the candles in. I mean, I had our candles shot in Colorado. So I think that through writing and imagery, you can really get the sense of what something feels and smells like. And then I think when most people buy one of our candles, they get how great they are. So they want to try other scents when they come out.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I'm trying to think of different fragrance campaigns. I feel like Ariana Grande's scent was
Mhm.
always very magical imagery and
Yeah.
like things like that. I saw even ads she pushed through TikTok for it, through influencers. So it's kind of interesting that it's just the like ethereal vibes that you get that makes someone trust that it'll smell good.
Totally. And I think it's all about that first purchase. And then once people And it's the same for me when I'm buying things. I mean, once I buy one product, if I trust it, I will try new things in that collection, whether it's shampoo or like hair oil, body oil. I buy one thing, and if I like it, I usually trust the other things will be just as good. So that's kind of what I try to do. And I think word of mouth is a big thing too with fragrance. If people are like, oh, I love that candle, people will be more inclined to try it for the first time, even if they haven't smelled it before.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, definitely. So I know in the past you've worked with Urban Outfitters and you had your
Mhm.
pop-up and rowing blazers. How did
Yeah.
those come about and what was the experience like?
Yeah, when I launched the brand, I had already had the idea that I wanted to be sold in Urban Outfitters. In my point of view, I think the Urban Outfitters consumer is one who I know people who shop there love home decor. They have a huge home section, and also I think they're more conscious consumers. So I knew immediately that I wanted to be there, and I thought that their customers would really love my product. So that's how that came to be. It felt just natural that like this vegan coconut soy wax candle was sold at Urban Outfitters. And people, I don't know if you guys are into astrology, but people say Taurus people love Urban Outfitters.
Uh,
Are either of you a Taurus?
my sister's a Taurus.
Do you think that's true?
Oh,
Like they love I mean, I'm a Taurus, but like they love home decor and like homey
Yeah.
things. And I think Urban
yeah.
Outfitters is all about
Yeah,
cozy
yeah,
and
yeah.
curating your home to be exactly the way you want it to be. So I just felt like it would be the perfect place for us. I mean, same with Rowing Blazers. They're a really family and friends oriented company. And, we organically just wanted to support each other. This sounds so, oh, rainbows and butterflies, but it was a very, real collaboration. It wasn't about money or a specific, it was like this makes sense to me. That sounds so perfect life, but they all kind of organically happened, to be honest.
Hmm.
Right. So how did you go about kind of reaching out to them and then other vendors as well? Do you just kind of cold email management?
Okay, this is an interesting story. I've done a lot for Urban Outfitters. I've modeled for them. I've done floral design for them.
Mm.
So over quarantine, I got asked to do with Penelope and Rose, I got asked to shoot urban vases at home. So I have had this pre-existing relationship with them from other things, which then I prepared this insane. I was at my dad's house during quarantine. I prepared like an insane pitch deck and prepared myself for the phone call with the urban buyer. And I pitched our product, and I waited 2 weeks, and I couldn't sleep or eat or breathe. I was like, are they going to want them? What are they going to say? Because I pitched the collaboration. I was like, I have these scents that we could sell there, but I also think this would be really cool for me to curate scents for your buyers, for your customers. So I was so nervous, and 14 days later, they emailed me back and placed an order and loved the idea. So it went, that was like one of my dream come true moments. And when they were officially on the website, I was really proud because it takes a lot of work from start to finish to make that happen. And with Rowing Blazers, my girlfriend and I know the owner. So I just
Mm.
texted him and said, I'd love to, do a pop-up in your store. I love everything you guys are about. And we did it that way. But yeah, the Urban Outfitters pitch really was a lot of hard work. And going from them placing the order to actually getting to their warehouse was probably one of the hardest things I've had to do in my life, because everything needs to have certain certifications. If anything breaks, it's a lot of work, and it's totally worth it. But I was really proud of my company and me for making that happen.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome. So do you mainly sell through Collabs and then your D2C e-commerce, or do you have consistent vendors that you sell through as well?
I'm only D2C right now, other than at Urban Outfitters. That's just how we're doing it right now. And I really love that model because you get to know your customers really well. And if I sold to a bunch of boutiques or stores other than Urban, I wouldn't really know who was buying it, and I wouldn't hear the feedback as much. So I've always wanted to be really picky on where the candles are.
Yeah, that makes sense. So what kind of collections can we look forward to? Because I know you mentioned you're going to release one soon.
Yeah, my next collection is a Valentine's Day candle called Flower Play. So it's about having fun and feeling sexy and feeling beautiful. So that's my Valentine's Day candle that's coming out. And I have a bestseller called Infatuation. It's like a very masculine, sexy scent. It's like has amber and really amazing stuff in it. So that's coming out in February as well.
Yeah. At Wellesley, I would always light the teakwood mahogany scented candle in my room because it smelled like a man.
I know. That's really a good smell and smells really good. It does smell like the classic boyfriend hoodie that a lot of people like that smell. Like I know in high school, a lot of girls were like, oh, I wear, what's it called? Axe.
Oh yeah. Axe.
A lot of girls would like wear Axe, so.
There was a kid in my middle school. He would every day when he would walk into his class, he would stand in front of the fan and spray Axe on himself and then just stand there.
God.
And then all the other people in the class would just be like staring at him. But low key, everyone loved it.
Yeah, I think even if people are haters, there was a few Axe scents that smelled pretty decent.
Yeah.
But this is whether you like girls, boys, or whatever in between, this is like a sexy, romantic scent. Infatuation. It smells so good.
My next question is, what do you think Wonderland Home will look like in the future?
Speaking about the future of Wonderland Home, I feel like we're going to expand into a bunch of different categories. We're going to create Wonderland Body and create bath bombs and body oils and all this kind of fun stuff. And I just want to create no bullshit products that exactly what's in them. I'm going to create fragrances. I would love to expand to do more vases. We did some really cool vases for a while. They broke a lot during shipping, so that's a big problem with glass products, but I want to do it all. I would love to do more body products and fragrances and all that kind of stuff.
All right, so one question we like to ask all of our guests is, what is your favorite statement piece?
Well, maybe I'll do furniture, interior design, because the way I usually design the apartments or wherever I'm living in, I like to pick a statement piece of furniture, and mine is always my couch. So I have you guys can't see it, but I have a blush pink velvet couch that is my statement piece for my home.
Wow, that's so sweet. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us. It was awesome to hear about your brand building.
Thank you for having me, and I hope my, long-ended answers made somewhat sense.
Well, that was really amazing. I love speaking with Audrey. She is so sweet and definitely really accomplished for being so young. She's around Sita's in my age, and I love speaking with those that are our age because it really motivates me to continue to work on my own personal endeavors and accomplish as much as people like her have.
Yes, and I think her multiple experiences in different careers and jobs have also taught her to be in tune with what her target demographic is looking for, especially when she thought about collaborations with Growing Blazers and Urban Outfitters. I think she really knows who her customer is and what she wants to provide for them. And I can't wait to see the brand expand even further.
For sure. Alrighty. Well, that's all for now, folks. Do.
Hey.